So just as we begin today, we will be using a block. We are going to at one point use a wall or a door or something. We're going to stand with our backs against a wall. And we're going to begin sitting. And you could start sitting in a chair if that's better for you. You could start sitting on the floor. You could start sitting up on your block. And you also have the option to start lying down. So what I've come to know is that there are people who really prefer beginning lying down. And then there are some people who lying down is not their preferred way to begin. And, at the beginning of our class, it's really just our time to connect with how we're feeling. So some days we start sitting, some days we start lying down. And I just want you to know that you're always welcome to choose whichever option feels better for you on any given day. So I try to mix it up just so you have an awareness of, your options. So we're going to begin sitting, and if we're sitting, let's think about our sitting bones, sending our sitting bones, first finding them, feeling them, and then imagining that we have roots growing down from our sitting bones down into whatever we're sitting on, imagining the ground, the soil is beneath us, and our roots are growing down into the soil. That imagery of rooting down can have this very grounding effect. And this feeling of stability and grounding can then help to support us in sitting up nice and tall. And of course, we're spending a lot of time since the pandemic. We can't, have our normal lives. So we're spending a lot of time sitting down. And most of us, as we sit, we tend to slouch, shoulders come forward, head comes forward. So this practice of just remembering to root down and to invite length in the spine is something that we can do in our yoga practice. But obviously this would be a useful thing to incorporate into more of our day, right? This slouch is, it's everywhere. And so for this next hour, we're really going to try and focus on our posture. So rooting down, sitting up tall, and then still some of us, if we lengthen our spine, we still find that our head is kind of pitched forward. So can we think about the spine as continuing into the neck and think about the neck being lengthened or lifted? And sometimes when we think about lengthening the neck or sitting up tall, we lift the chin up. So let's keep the chin kind of a little bit tucked down. You can take one finger, kind of push it down and up to kind of create a little more length in the back of the neck. So that's all just to help us find a nice upright posture. And then just relax your shoulders. You could even roll your shoulders a few times and then just let them relax down. So we're sitting up tall, but we're not tight and tense. We're sitting up tall, as relaxed as possible. And you could have your eyes open. You can close your eyes at this point. Let's take some time to connect with our breath and begin to deepen our breath. We're just going to bring our awareness to the feeling of breathing. We're sitting up tall so that the lungs have the ability to really expand into the front, the sides, the back of the body. When the lungs expand, the ribs will expand. So just experience what it feels like to breathe deeply as you're sitting up nice and tall. Breath flows in. Each time after a full inhalation, let's allow the exhale all the time that it needs to empty all the way out. when we breathe deeply, there's actually a lot of muscles involved with taking a full deep breath in. So those muscles are working, they're contracting to create this expansive breath. And then all those muscles can relax as we allow the breath to empty out. Of course, when we breathe in, the diaphragm drops down. It engages, it compresses kind of down into the organs, kind of pushing the belly out. And then on the exhale, that diaphragm releases and softens and relaxes up into the rib space. So even though we're just sitting up tall, there's quite a bit of movement in the body here. As we breathe deeply and allow the breath to empty out. So one more really full, deep, expansive breath in and out. And then begin to transition to a more natural breath rhythm. Maintaining this focused awareness on how you're feeling, what you're feeling. As we're breathing more naturally now, let's take a moment to soften the roof of the mouth. Imagining the roof of the mouth becoming more broad and spacious, expanding out towards the molars, expanding out towards the back of the head, the base of the skull, as if the dome shape of the roof of the mouth was broadening out into more of a flat, plain surface, expanding out to the sides and the back. Notice how that feels. And then let your awareness expand to checking in with your whole body, so like the rest of your body. How is your body feeling this morning? First thing we might notice are like aches or pains. And that's important information. You could notice the temperature of your body. And just check in, just in general, with how your body's feeling. And then also checking in with how you're doing mentally, emotionally this morning. Some of us have had a hectic morning. How are we doing right now? And then recognizing that we are our own best friend. What can we offer ourselves this morning? What would we like to invite in or cultivate as we spend this next hour just caring for ourselves? Pick one thing that would be useful for you to support yourself. Breathe it in. And then when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. So, it'd be nice if the fact that we take time for self-care and for yoga would mean that we never have any issues or pains or injuries in our bodies. But of course, that's not true for most of us. We experience, challenges and difficulties. And I think one of the advantages of our yoga practice is that we do have this opportunity to really pay attention to what's going on with our bodies. And so like for me personally, I'm having some issues with my neck currently. I woke up this morning and, something's a little off. And so, I'm trying to evaluate like, well, how does that feeling? What does it need? And then you know, we can go into like our yoga toolkit. Like, is there some movement that I have that's going to address this problem? And, you know, some of you have been practicing for a long time. And I just want you to recognize that you probably have a lot of awareness of how the movement that we do feels in your body and which movements might be appropriate to help you address some issues that you're having. So like for me, what I decided to do this morning for my neck is something that I'm going to do with you guys now that I think can kind of free things up. So we're going to do trickle down twist, and then we're going to maintain a seated posture. If you need to shake out your legs or something, or if you need to switch to a chair, you know, or if you were lying down, come up to sitting, because we're going to do this sitting up. So again, when we do trickle down twists, we want to have our sitting bones rooted down. Whenever we twist, we want to have our spine upright. We don't want to be leaning to the side. We don't want to be leaning forward. We want a nice upright spine, including the neck, right? So again, that tuck of the chin, we want the ears over the shoulders. We want a nice upright spine. And so when we do trickle down twists, a lot of times when we twist, we kind of twist from the bottom up. And today we're going to twist sort of from the top down. And so we want to start by thinking about the cervical spine, the spine of the neck, which begins at the base of the skull and continues to that bony protrusion at the bottom of the neck. And from the base of the skull to the bottom of the neck, we have 7 cervical vertebrae. And then from that bony protrusion at the base of the neck, that right under there is where the first thoracic vertebra starts. And that goes to the base of the ribs, basically, where the ribs attach. That's our thoracic spine. We have 12 vertebrae there. And then we don't twist the lumbar spine. The lumbar spine it's not ideal to twist the lumbar spine repeatedly. So we're just going to twist from the base of the skull down to the base of the ribs. And we're going to trickle down this twist. We're going to do it very incrementally. So as we're sitting up tall, rooting down nice and tall, consider the base of your skull, and again, kind of drop the chin down. So that's C1, it kind of drops the chin down, it kind of moves up and down. And then the rest of the vertebrae turn. So from the base of the skull, that C1, your cervical 1 spine, we're just going to gently turn it to the right. And then beneath that is C2, and that's going to gently rotate to the right. And beneath that is C3, and that's going to gently rotate. And beneath that is C4. So we're moving down towards the base of that bony protrusion is C7. So now we're at C5. Beneath that is C6. And beneath that is C7. So we kind of rotated the head around to the right. Now from that bony protrusion at the base of the neck, right under there, T1, we're going to start to twist that to the right. Beneath that is T2. Just incrementally, beneath that is T3. And then beneath that is T4. So you're starting to rotate around your thoracic spine. As we rotate, your hands can kind of move as well. You might bring your right hand to the floor. I think we're at T4. And then T5, so your other arm might come across. T6, you're kind of in the middle of your rib space there. Under that is T7. Under that is T8. Under that is T9. Under that is T10. You're getting kind of to those floating ribs, T11 and T12. So we've rotated the head of the neck and the kind of the mid to upper back. And then we're just going to hang out here and take a few breaths. So this is just a gentle twist. We're not twisting, you know, intensely. We just gently rotate it around. And now a couple of deep breaths. In and out. And after you release your next breath, you can just slowly, gradually unwind yourself back around to facing forward. So sometimes this gentle twist is just the ticket for freeing up tension in the body. So let's try it to the other side. Rooting down, sitting up tall, back of the neck long. Think about just ever so slightly dropping the chin. So That's C1, does that action. Then under that is C2. The head slightly turns to the left. And then under that is C3. And then under that is C4. This is just movement of the head. And then C5. And then C6. And now you've rotated your head around to the base of your neck, that bony protrusion there. And then underneath there, T1. Rotating around the line of the spine, T2. T3. T4. As you start to move around, you might take that left hand back, fingertips to the floor, T5. T6. Getting to the middle of the rib space. The other arm might come around, T7, T8, T9, T10, T11, and T12, the bottom of the rib attachment. So the lumbar spine, the pelvis is still facing forward. That hasn't moved. Now let's breathe deeply. And at the bottom of your next exhalation, go ahead and allow yourself to unwind and release back around. And just take a moment here. Notice how you feel. So again, some days some really gentle movement is what your body is needing or craving. And that can be just a really nice, gentle way to experience a twist. All right, so let's come on to all fours now. Come on to all fours, knees beneath hips, wrists beneath shoulders, spine nice and long. Take a breath and lengthen your spine. And then as you exhale, round your spine, drop your tailbone down, drop your head. You might move your hips a little bit, move your shoulders, and then come to flat back. As we breathe in, let's arch the back, lifting the tail and drawing the heart forward, extending. And then just move between those two. Exhaling to round and flex. And then inhaling to arch and extend. And then coming back to your neutral spine. Let's take the right leg back and reach the left arm forward. Holding spinal balance here, long and strong. We'll press out through the heel. Thumb can be up, fingertips forward. Nice long spine, belly supporting this here so you're not arching your low back. Take a breath as you reach long. As we exhale, let's draw the elbow in toward the knee in toward the elbow. We'll lift up in the belly here, and then we'll reach out again. Breathe in. Exhale, draw the elbow to knee, lift up. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, pull up and in. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, pull up and in. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, up and in. 2 more times. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, lift up. 1 more time. Reach out. Exhale, pull up and in. Last time, we'll reach out long, hold here, and then release that hand and knee down. We'll do the other side. Let's take the left leg back. Press out through the heel, nice and long, and reach your opposite arm forward. Thumb up. Take a breath here, reaching long. And then on the exhale, draw the elbow in toward the knee, lift up in the belly. If you could touch, go ahead and touch. And then reach out. Inhale, exhale, lift up. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, pull in. Inhale, reach. Exhale. Nice abdominal contraction here as you bring elbow to knee. Reach out, pull up and in. 2 more. Reach out. Exhale, pull up and in. 1 more time. Reach out. Exhale, pull up and in. Last time we were gonna just hold here, nice and long. And then hand and knee can come down. Let's sit back into child's pose, sitting on our heels, letting the spine round, releasing the forehead to the floor or onto your bent arms. Take a moment here to breathe and check in. You can move your hips around a little bit if you like. What are you breathing in? Connect with your focus this morning. And then when we're ready, let's lift our heads up and reach our arms way out in front and make our way to downward facing dog. So grounding down through the hands here, pressing firmly, imagining little roots in your hands, fingers, knuckles, thumbs. As you ground down through their hands, soften the knees, draw the hips up and back, broaden between your shoulder blades. Take a deep breath in and let it go big. Do that again. Deep breath in and a big sigh. Okay. Let's pedal the heels a few times, bending a knee and pressing a heel down, bending the other knee and pressing the heel down. Just noticing the feet. Let's bend both our knees a bit. Take the hips up and back. Shake your head a few times. Free up your neck in that way, perhaps. And then let's look toward the hands a bit and walk our feet up toward our hands and plant our feet beneath us. Ending up in a nice relaxed ragdoll here, feet planted. We'll take a breath into the upper back. Let's allow the breath to empty out. And then we'll draw the belly in and begin to roll ourselves up, taking some time to unfurl the spine and stack those vertebrae. We're grounding down through the feet as you continue to roll yourself up, ending up standing nice and tall, chin tucked, ears over shoulders. Let's roll the shoulders forward and up and back and down as we arrive in this nice upright posture. Let's ground down through the feet and reach the arms out. We'll inhale and reach the arms up. As we lift the arms, let's lift the heart. And then we'll release the arms down at our side. Great. Okay. This is where I'd like us to go and stand against a wall. If you have a wall or a door nearby, I want you to stand with your back against the wall, with your feet, pretty close, probably not quite touching, but your feet quite close. And so as you stand against the wall, you're going to have your bum is going to be on the wall, your low back is going to be on the wall, and then you're going to try and get your shoulders against the wall. And everybody has different, bodies. We're all so different. And some of us it's going to be really difficult or impossible to also get our head up against the wall. So we're going to do the best we can. Again, we don't want to lift the chin up to get the upper part of the back of the head against the wall. Ideally, we can kind of tuck the chin and lengthen the back of the neck and get the middle of the back of the head against the wall. If that's not available for you, just get it as close as you can. And then a lot of us are going to find in order to get our back against the wall, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of push our ribs forward in order to get our back against the wall. So, and that's not where we're going for. We're not going for extending the spine. So I want us to try to knit the ribs in and down, right? Because the ribs go forward when we arch the back. So you can even take a breath in. You can even put your hands on your ribs. And as you exhale, facilitate the knitting of the ribs in and down so that we have a more neutral spine. So even when our ribs are knit in and down, we can think about lifting the sternum. So the ribs can knit in and down and we can extend, but we're going to extend from the mid to upper back rather than arching or extending into the low back. So knitting the ribs to stand tall. So however, as close to the wall as you can get with your shoulders, with your head, I want you to place your palms against the wall. I might move here so you can see me better. So you're going to have your hands against the wall as you're standing here, trying not to let your ribs pop forward. And then I want you to push with your hands, press firmly with your hands against the wall. And of course, when we push into the wall, something wants to move away. So I'm going to let you take your hips away from the wall now. And again, rather than just arching your back and pushing your hips and your ribs forward, your hips are going to come a little forward, but I want you to think about keeping the ribs knitting and extending through your thoracic here, okay? So you're working, and what we're doing is we're creating space across the collarbones as well here, right? So you're pushing away from the wall, you're keeping your ribs knit, and as you're pressing in, I want you to cultivate space kind of across your collarbones. Yeah, so we're just kind of opening up the front of the shoulders, the front of the chest here. Take a breath, your arms are working hard, and then go ahead and relax. Great, all right, you can step back from wherever your wall was back onto your mat. We're just gonna stand with our feet beneath us. Let's just lift the heels up and lower them down. And lift the heels up and lower them down. And one more time like that. Great. Okay, I want us to take a breath in. And then as we exhale, on your exhale, I want you to think about that little bit of knitting your ribs in and down. Okay, so we're gonna take a breath in. As we exhale, we're gonna knit the ribs in and down, and at the same time, we're gonna lift the arms up. And then we're gonna inhale to lower the arms. We're gonna exhale to knit the ribs and reach the arms up, and inhale to lower. So it's kind of different than we often breathe. One more time, exhale, knit the ribs and lift the arms up. This can kind of free up movement in the shoulders. Inhale, lower the arms. We're gonna do that at the front of our mat now. Go to the side. So we're gonna stand at the front of our mat, root down. We're gonna take a breath in. As we exhale, we're gonna knit the ribs as we reach the arms out and up. And then we're gonna inhale and fold over. I want you to exhale now to extend your spine forward. You can press onto shins, exhaling as you extend. So those ribs can knit in again. And then inhale and round forward. Let's do that again. Exhale to extend the spine. Knit the ribs, lengthen, draw your heart forward. And inhale and fold over. Great. Let's bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Rounding through the hands, taking the hips up and back. Take a breath in. Exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Let's hold here for a bit. Pushing down through the hands, fingers, knuckles, thumbs. Letting the heels press back. Finding that nice long alignment here. Feeling free to drop onto knees if that's better for you today. Let's take a breath here. As we exhale, we'll let the elbows bend a bit. Elbows pointing back, trying not to let the hips sink down here as we hold this position and take another breath. And then let's let our knees come down, and we're going to lower all the way down onto belly into prone mountain. Heels of the hands by the low ribs. So just holding this prone mountain position, I want you to take a breath in. And as you exhale, I want you to knit your low ribs in. So it's a little different when you're in this position. Knitting the ribs is kind of feels different than when you're standing up or laying on your back. So again, we're going to inhale. We're going to exhale and knit the ribs in. And with your ribs knitting in a little bit, can you start to extend into baby cobra? So it's a little hard to keep your ribs knit and inhale, but that's what we're going to do here. Then exhale, lower down. We're knitting the ribs. And again, we're going to inhale into baby cobra. So we're trying to create more extension through the mid to upper back and not into the lower back. Lower down. Again, let's just take a breath in. Exhale, knit the ribs. Next, inhale, come up to baby cobra, or if you like, continue to come up into cobra, but you're knitting your ribs. So there's not as much extension in your lower back. And then we're going to lower back down. Great. Let's push up to knees, curl the toes under and lift the knees, and then take the hips up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. Look a little forward, walk your feet up towards your hands, plant your feet beneath you. Take a breath into your upper back. As you exhale, sweep your arms out, rise up, reach up. Inhale, lower your arms. Again, exhale, reach overhead. Knit your ribs. Inhale, swan dive. Exhale, halfway lift. Extend your heart. Inhale, round forward. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale to straight arm plank. Hold here and try a little bend in your elbows. Take another breath. Exhale and lower yourself down. Take a breath in prone mountain. Exhale, knit your ribs up and in. Inhale to baby cobra or cobra, knitting those ribs. Exhale, lower down. Let's make our way up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. And then I'd like you to exhale down onto your knees. All right, so we're on all fours. I want you to take the arm that's further away from your device and come onto your forearm. So with your fist facing towards your device or towards the long line of your mat. We're gonna do side plank on our forearm. So option would be to have one knee down and straighten one leg and lift up into side plank. Or could we put one foot in front of the other or stack the feet? Two options here. And then reach the other arm up. So you might have your bottom knee on the floor. You might have your feet one in front of the other. You might have them stacked, but you're pushing weight down into that bottom forearm and you're working this whole bottom side waist here. A really great way to build strength in that lower side. Could you lift your hips a little bit higher and maybe drop them down a little bit? Lift your hips a little higher and maybe drop them down a little bit. Lift your hips a little higher and drop them down. One more time. Lift your hips a little higher, take a breath. And then this hand that's up top, you can bring it down and let's come back to all fours. Nice work. Now you could turn away from your device, or I'm just going to rotate around to the other side. And if you've rotated around, again, it's your arm that's further away from your device. Come onto that forearm. And then you can turn one leg back, and you kind of have to create the right angle here and be in a kneeling side plank, or put one foot in front of the other, or stack your feet. Find a way to put some weight on that bottom forearm. Create space from your bottom shoulder to your top shoulder. And then, if you can, add a little movement, lowering your hips down, lifting your hips up, lowering your hips down, lifting your hips up, lowering your hips down, lifting your hips up. One more time. As you come up, hold here, take a breath. Nice work. And then this top arm, we'll bring it to the floor, and then we're going to make our way back to all fours. Nice job. All right, let's come to stand on our knees. And we're going to step one foot in front. I'm going to step the right foot out in front. And let's get the heel a little forward of the knee. And then we're just going to start to let the hips move forward. Yeah, so you start to feel a stretch back here as the weight moves into that front foot. And you decide how far you want to go. And then push back. Let's put a little weight in the back knee and shin and do that again. So there's a little more action in the thigh as we stretch it out a little bit here. Push the weight back, weight in the knee and shin, and again, take the weight forward. Weight comes into that front foot, and we get a nice lengthening in these muscles in the back leg. Same arm as the back leg, let's sweep it up and overhead. So that back knee and shin are pressing down, that arm is reaching up. Can we take the other arm and reach it up? Big breath in here, stretching up. Exhale, knit your ribs in a little bit. And keep your ribs knitting and again, reach up. Great. All right, bring your hands to heart and just lean forward here. And we're gonna do a gentle twist towards the front leg to the right. So twist to the right. If you want to take that elbow to the outside of that knee, you could. Twist a little deeper. Let's breathe in and out. And then we'll unwind. We're going to bring our hands down. Could we curl the back toes under and press up into a lunge? Feet are hip distance apart. Then we can bring our hands onto the front knee. Let's push down to straighten the front leg and straighten up. We'll bring our hands to hips. Let's orient our hips towards the front line of the mat so that back heel rolls straight back. And then we're going to bend the front knee, push the foot down to straighten the front leg. We'll bend the front knee, push the foot down to straighten. Again, bend and straighten. This time, let's bend the front knee and keep it bent. Knee and shin going forward, that same sitting bone drawing back. As we press back through the heel, we'll lift the heart up. Take a breath. Exhale, knit the ribs in and down a bit, and then reach the arms out and up and overhead. Nice. Let's take a breath here. And then we're gonna exhale, leaning forward. We'll bring our hands to the floor, and we'll drop onto that back knee, push the weight back. We're gonna change legs. So right knee comes in, and left foot steps out. Heel a little forward of the knee. Put your hands on the front knee and just begin nice and gentle, taking the weight forward, seeing how that feels. And then pushing the weight back. Let's put some weight in the back knee and shin, and then do that stretch with a little more action in that back thigh, and then push back. One more time, pressing the knee and shin down as the weight moves forward. Yeah. Now, same arm as the back leg. Let's sweep it up. The back knee and shin are pressing down. That arm is reaching up. Let's take the other arm and reach it up now. Take a breath in as you reach up. And then exhale, hands to heart. We're going to lean forward now, and we're going to gently twist. Hands could stay to heart. You could take that elbow around if you like, and take a breath. And then we'll unwind. Let's bring our hands down. We'll curl the back toes under and press up to lunge. You know, you can always grab onto a chair here for support if you like. So we can place our hands on the front knee. We're going to rise up, straighten the front leg. Let's see if we can square our hips to the short line of our mat, heel going straight back. And then we'll bend the front knee, push down to straighten. We'll bend the front knee and push down to straighten. And again, bend the front knee and push down to straighten. This time we'll bend the front knee and keep it bent. Knee and shin going forward, sitting bone drawing back. As we press back through the back heel, let's sweep the arms forward and up. Big breath here. Exhale, knit the ribs a little bit. And then reach up again. And then we'll exhale our hands all the way down. Can we step back to downward facing dog? You can kneel and then come up to down dog, or just make your way up to down dog. We're going to breathe in and out here. We'll lower to straight arm plank. Let's breathe in and out here. We might try a little bend in the elbows or a little bigger bend in the elbows. Take one more breath. And then we'll lower all the way down onto belly. And let's come onto forearms. So get your elbows right beneath your shoulders. Then we're going to slice down with the forearms to lift the chest. Let's try curling the toes under, and we're going to lift the hips up. We could be on our knees and kneeling forearm plank, or we could lift our knees up. Or we could alternate one knee down at a time. But we're just, again, pressing down with the forearms, trying to create strength across the upper back here, supporting our weight with the muscles of the upper back, with the core, with the legs. Everything's working here. So we're going to try and stay here for maybe a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. If it's bothering your back, try lifting your hips a little bit more, or maybe bending your knees a bit. Let's say we're at 4, 3, 2. Nice work. We'll drop to knees, let the hips come down. Let's let the chest come down. Take your elbows wide. We'll let our heads rest on our hands. Just let everything relax here as you breathe in and out. Great. All right. We can press the front of the hips down, press the tops of the feet down, and then lift the legs up, reaching back through the toes, taking a breath, and then relaxing the legs down. Let's bring our arms alongside the body, palms to the ceiling. We're going to start with the legs again. Press the hips down, lift the legs. We'll reach back through the fingertips. Let's knit the ribs in a bit, and then inhale and lift the chest up. Nice long locust pose. Get long as you can, and then maybe lift the legs, lift the chest, pull the heart forward. Take one more breath. And then release down. Nice work. Hands next to chest. Let's push back to knees. Take the hips back, and then curl the toes under. Make your way up to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. And then let's walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering our heels down. End it up, fold it over. We're going to bend the knees and lower the hips. Sweep the arms forward, sitting back in our low chair. Let's lift the arms up by the ears. Take a breath in and out. And then push down to rise up, reaching up. And we'll exhale, arms down at our sides. Great. All right, we're going to find our blocks. We're going to come into a wide stance. Let's turn the right foot in and turn the left foot out. We'll just bend and straighten the front knee a few times, making sure we have a nice distance here. We have that back foot angling in and solidly planted. We're going to bend the front knee now, and we're going to tip the hips over. And we often have this forearm on this bottom leg, which is one option, or you could put the block right behind your ankle and lean over a bit more and put your hands on the block if you like. Let's take the other arm forward and lift it up here. So you can press down into the block. You can press that back foot down and find length from your outer foot to the crown of your head. You can find space from bottom shoulder to top shoulder. Let's breathe in and out here. You can leave the block there and push into the front leg and rise up. Great. All right. So from here now, we're going to tip over. And this back hip can turn a little bit downward. We're going to lean over into a triangle. And again, you might place your hand on your shin, or you might use the block. The block could be at any height. Some people put this hand on the floor. So it's up to you how far you want to tip over. But as you tip over, this back hip can rotate down. That's fine. But once we're over, let's take that arm forward again. And again, we're going to rotate open and up. So the chest orients towards your device or the long line of your mat. Feet are planted and pushing down. Space across the chest and back. We'll breathe in and out. And then again, we're going to push down to rise up. Great. Now I want us to turn towards the front short line of our mat. And we're probably going to want to adjust that back foot a little bit. so that it angles a little more deeply towards the front corner of your mat. So this hip is a little bit back of the other one, but you're kind of orienting your shoulders towards the front of your mat. And then we're going to hinge forward. This front leg can be straight, or if it's better for you to bend the knee a bit, that's fine. So we're going to move to flat back. Now find that block and place it under the same arm as the back leg. So you've got your wrist right under your shoulder here. Again, the block can be at any height. It's just bringing the floor closer to you. So now, can you orient your chest, your shoulders, even with the floor? And then take the arm that's not on the block out to the side. And we're going to open into a twist in the direction of the front leg. So we're going to press the bottom arm down, reach the top arm up, and breathe in and out here. Revolve triangle. Great. Let's let that arm come back down. And you can bend the front knee, and we're just going to rise up. Bring the block along. Great. We're going to do that all on the other side. So left foot turns in, right foot turns out. Let's just bend and straighten the knee a few times. Just make sure you're feeling nice and rooted. And then we're going to bend the front knee. We're going to tip the hips over. And you could just be here with your forearm on your thigh. You could put the block down and then maybe go a little deeper into your side angle. Take your other arm forward and open it up. Breathe in and out here. Leave the block there, push down to rise up, straightening that front leg. All right, now triangle. We're gonna tip the hips over. Again, this back hip can turn a little bit. And we're gonna hand could slide down the leg, or if you like to use the block, you could. Let's take the other arm forward again and then open it up. Rotate open here. And breathe in and out, lengthening through the spine, broadening across the chest and back. Take one more breath. You can leave the block and we're going to rise up. All right, now we're going to turn our shoulders towards the short line of the mat. We might want to angle that back foot a little more deeply towards the front corner of the mat. We're going to take a breath in and then we're going to exhale and hinge forward toward a flat back. And then can you find that block and bring it around so it's under the same arm as the back leg. Get your wrist right under your shoulder here. Orient your shoulders, your chest to the floor. And then take the other arm out to the side and inhale and rotate that arm up toward the ceiling. Yeah. Your gaze could be anywhere that's comfortable for you. Breathe in and out here. And then let that arm come down. You can bend into the front knee a little bit and rise up. Great. Turn your feet forward. You can heel and toe in or just jump your feet together. Great. All right, we're going to come down onto the floor. And so it's going to be a little different for this next one depending on your surface. So if you are in an area where your mat is on a sliding surface like a floor, then you are going to either want to put your socks on or you might use a blanket. What we're going to try and do is slide our heels on a surface. So I'm just going to do it right on the carpeting here. I don't have socks that will work, but I'm just going to do it with my feet. You can put your socks on if they won't slide off. And again, if you're on like a stickier surface, you need to have something that'll slide. So sometimes we do this on a wood floor. We put our feet on a blanket so we can slide the blanket out and in. So you're going to have your legs kind of off of your mat. Your rest of your body could be on your mat. Just you could be anywhere. Lying down with your feet on the floor so they're not on your sticky mat. It doesn't work on your sticky mat. So we're going to lie down with our feet hip distance apart. And I want you to just start by sliding your heels out till your legs are straight and then sliding them back in. And so when we slide the legs out, we kind of lengthen the hamstrings. And then when we slide the heels in, we activate the hamstrings, they shorten. So just do that one more time. Slide your heels out and then slide your heels in. So you kind of activated your hamstrings. Now plant your feet where you would for bridge pose, and then we're going to lift up into a bridge. So again, we're working the hamstrings. Come up into a bridge, take a breath, and then lower yourself down. And then slide your heels out, and then slide your heels in, plant your feet, and roll up into a bridge. And then lower back down. So that's all we're going to do. We're going to slide the heels out, slide the heels in, press up into a bridge, and lower ourselves down. A few more like that. Sliding the heels out, feet are hip distance the whole time. Slide them in, plant your feet, press up into a bridge, lower yourself down. 2 more times. Slide your heels out, slide your heels in, press up into a bridge, and lower yourself down. Last one. Slide your heels out, slide your heels in, press up into a bridge, and lower yourself down. Great. Can you just have one foot on the floor, lift your other leg up, and press up into a bridge and lower yourself down? Do it again. Press up into a bridge and lower yourself down. One more time. Press up into a bridge and lower yourself down. Change legs. Put that foot on the floor, lift the other leg up, press up into a bridge and lower yourself down. Press up into a bridge and lower yourself down. One more time. Press up. These are low bridges, by the way, and then lower down. Nice job. All right, you might want to change your position now so you're lying on your mat like we normally do. And then we're going to lie down again. Oops, not on our block. We're going to lie ourselves down and let's give our knees a hug. Give your knees a hug. And, do this with a little feeling, like you're giving yourself a hug. I think we all miss hugs. We all need hugs. So offer yourself a hug here. And then let's just hug onto one leg and extend the other leg out straight on the floor. The straight leg, you might bounce the knee a few times and then let that straight leg be really heavy as you hug the other knee in. Yeah. Take that hugged knee out to the side with that same hand and take a breath. Draw the knee back and take it towards your midline and then towards the opposite shoulder. So you're stretching a little into that outer hip and take a breath. And then bring that knee back in line with its hip and lift the leg up in the air. Hold behind the thigh and press the leg into your hands so your arms become straight. Flex your foot, heel up, toes down. Point your toes. Squeeze your toes or scrunch. Wiggle that out. Do that again. Big flex, toes pulling towards you. Big point. And then squeeze your toes. Stretch into the top of that foot. And then shake it off. Let's change legs. That foot comes down. Other knee hugs in. That other leg straightens and bounce it out a little bit. So the bottom leg on the floor is really heavy as the other knee hugs in. Then same arm, same hand draws that knee out to the side. We'll take a breath. Let's bring the knee back on the exhale. Grab it with both hands. Draw it towards the midline and then towards the opposite shoulder. Breathe into that outer hip. Bring that knee back in line with the hip and lift the leg up in the air. Grab behind the thigh, press into the hands, push the heel up, pull the toes towards you. Stretch your toes up, squeeze or scrunch your toes. Do that again, flex, point, squeeze, wiggle it out, and release that foot down. Nice work. Alrighty, my friends, we are going to transition to our final relaxation. So if it's chilly where you are, please take a moment to find a way to not be chilly, to be warm and comfortable, covering up with something, putting on a layer. Find a way to support yourself, maybe your head or under your knees if that would be more comfortable. And then lie yourself back. Legs extended so your legs can be relaxed. Arms comfortably wherever they feel most easy and free. Wiggle around a bit if that's useful in order to find that place where you can really soften and settle. Allowing the body this opportunity to unwind, relax, settle, and let go. Feeling the ease and relaxation, the heaviness in the feet and the ankles, in the shins and calves, the knees and the thighs, all heavily relaxing into the floor. Letting the belly soften and relax as the weight of the hips drops into the floor. Letting the arms and hands relax, the shoulders releasing back. And feeling how the weight of the head rests back and allowing all the facial muscles to soften and smooth, release and relax. Letting ourselves rest here, body and mind. So there can be value in a more extended time of relaxation. And you're always welcome to stay as long as you like. And if you want to stay longer, you might want to close down your device. If you're ready to transition now, you might open your eyes, bend your knees and bring your feet to the floor. You might gently roll to your side and take a few moments for transitioning there. You might slowly, gradually make your way up to sitting. And as you arrive sitting, I'm just going to share a little brief reading. I've read this many times before. That's one of my favorites from Dana Falls. This is what I have to say to you. You know all that you need to know. You already are all that you need to be. It remains only for you to recognize and acknowledge who you are, what you know, and the powerful presence that is awake within you. You think of yourself as fragile, but you are, in fact, strong. You sometimes feel alone, but you are, in truth, connected. Believe in this connection. Believe in yourself. So peace, my friends, and thanks for being here. And you can come and say hello or goodbye